Okay, so we have Santa's Runaway Elf. And as you can tell, this book is a Rand McNally Jr. Elf book. And over here in the corner, 69 cents. But more importantly, if you look at the Kmart sticker, we can tell three things. The month was November. The year was 1984. And the price of this book was 64 cents. You telling me they ain't making money? Anyway. Rand McNally Jr. Elf Books. This delightful series presents an excellent selection of factual and fanciful adventures for young children. The stories will stir the imagination and awaken a sense of wonder, making children more aware of realities of their environment. Junior Elf Books can provide a stimulating early learning experience. So let's go right ahead and jump into this book. Okay, The Santa Runaway Elf by Jean Lewis, illustrated by Marjorie Cooper. The Rand McNally Company in Chicago, established in 1856. Copyright 1977, printed in the USA. Makes you wonder if they're still operating, doesn't it? Anyway, just a thought. Tiny Elf longed for the day that he'd be big enough to go to the North Pole to meet one of Santa's helpers. "It's the most fun ever," the bigger elves told him. "Wait and see." But Tiny couldn't wait another minute, so he hitched a ride on a shooting star and made a soft landing in a snowbank. He looked around. Was this the North Pole? Or was he lost? Then he heard a deep, kindly voice ask, "Are you lost, little fella?" It was Santa. Tiny took a deep breath. "I want to be one of your helpers, Santa. I know I'm small, but I promise I'll work hard and grow fast." The old man chuckled. "First meet two of my members of my team. Dancer and Prancer," gasped Tiny. "Right," laughed Santa, as the reindeer pranced and danced for Tiny. Santa gave each one a sugar lump. The reindeer shook their antlers in delight as they pranced off. Then Santa sat down on a log and took Tiny on his knee. "Suppose you visit all my workshops," said Santa. "Then pick out the job you think you can do best." Tiny's first stop was the carpentry shop. He climbed up on a bench to see. Everywhere grown-up elves were busy sawing and hammering, making all kinds of wonderful toys for Christmas. "Don't step on those nails, boy," said an elf. "I've got 30 more ladders to finish by midnight." Tiny saw the elves' tools were much too big, and this wasn't the job for him. In the paint shop, Tiny watched elves carefully painting blue eyes and gray spots on a white rocking horse. Tiny knew if that horse didn't look just right, some youngster was going to be very disappointed. He left. Tiny didn't stay long at the doll dressmaking shop either. "You're a perfect size one," cried one of the ladies. But Tiny hadn't come to the North Pole to be a doll dressmaker's dummy. The little elf was feeling pretty discouraged. Would he ever find the job he could do best? Suddenly he smelled something delicious. "Come in," called Mrs. Santa. "Taste my new candy canes." "Yummy!" exclaimed Tiny. He longed to stay and taste all the Christmas treats in Miss Santa's kitchen, but he must keep on job hunting. Then Tiny had an idea. "I'll make a job for myself. I'll make Christmas cards." At the North Pole Library, he looked through books of poems and pictures. Finally, Tiny made up a Christmas card of his own. "Wait till Santa sees this," he says. And it's supposed to say Mary, but he misspelt Mary, and Christmas. But when he showed Santa his card, the old man shook his head. Tiny, I'm afraid you haven't learned to spell or draw well enough to make Christmas cards. And the wise old man told Tiny to stop and take a snow break. So Tiny ran outside and built the biggest, jolliest snowman ever. Now for the last workshop, said Tiny. I know I'll find a job there. And the last workshop was full of trucks, planes, and trains. Professor Willie Elf launched a toy spaceship just for Tiny. Please, may I work here? Asked Tiny. Do you have your diploma from engineering school? Asked the professor. Tiny didn't even have a nursery school diploma. Outside, he met some elves hauling a sled full of panda bears. Can I help? He asked. Sure, they said. Hang on to this rope while we clear a path. But the sled was too heavy for Tiny. It skidded downhill, dumping all the toy pandas in the snow. The elves were very cross. Go away, they told Tiny. You're no help. Blinded by tears, Tiny ran into Santa. I'm no good for any job here, sobbed the little elf. There's nothing wrong with you that won't be right in a year, said Santa. Then you'll be big enough and smart enough to be one of my best helpers. Honest, said Tiny, drying his tears. Right now there's a job that just fits you. Come on, said Santa. It's almost time for takeoff. On their way to the reindeer stables, Santa told Tiny how he longed for the company on his Christmas Eve rides. Every inch of my sleigh is needed for toys, said Santa, but you're small enough to perch on my shoulders. Mrs. Santa and all the helpers came to give Tiny and Santa a big send-off. And that's how Santa's runaway elf came home on Christmas Eve. See you next year, called Santa. Tiny waved. A year isn't so long if you spend it growing, said Tiny. Merry Christmas.